Okay, I think we're getting ready to go. I'd like to welcome all of you to the PG Poetry Slam here at the 2009 National Poetry Slam in West Palm Beach, Florida. This is where you should start. That's a lot of stuff. Okay, for some reason they want me to do this. All right, so first of all, I have to do the official MC spiel. It goes like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Poetry Slam. My name is Deb Marsh, and I'll be your host this afternoon. The Poetry Slam is a competition invented in the 1980s by a Chicago construction worker named Mark Smith.
So what?
Oh, so many people know. Good. In which performed poetry is judged by 5 members of the audience. Poets have 3 minutes to present their original work. The judges then score the piece anywhere from 0 to 10, evaluating such qualities as performance, content, and originality. The high and low scores are tossed out, and the middle 3 are added together, giving the performer his or her score. Judges, try to remember to be consistent and remain unswayed by the audience. Audience, try to sway the judges. But audience, or judges, you should ignore any kind of boisterous behavior that the audience tells you. Audience, let the judges know how you feel about the job they are doing, but be respectful because there would be no show without them. Now let me introduce you to our judges. So judges, when I say your name, please wave your paddle so that everyone can see you. Our first judge is Bianca, and she is here. And she says she's a good judge because she is impartial. Corunna, hope there's Corunna. Corunna knows what she wants, and she wants her poetry to have feeling. That's what she says. Avery, where are you, Avery? No, Avery. Right there, there's Avery. He's been slamming in school for a year and a half now, but he's never judged, so he wants to try out judging. Now Ari is right here, and she thinks she's going to be an excellent judge because she is a future performer herself. And then finally we have Kira right here. And Kira was a part of a Brave New Voices team she went to DC but didn't get to perform there. So she knows what Brave New Voices youth poetry is all about, so she's got a little bit of expertise under her belt. So those are going to be our 5 judges for the first rotation. Clap them now because you might want to boo them later, we'll see. Now, at every Poetry Slam, what we do is we bring up a calibration poet so the judges can set their level. They're going to do that right now. Please welcome to the stage Elizabeth Thomas.
This poem is for all of my students. Webster's dictionary defines muse as the spirit regarded as inspiring a poet. When I call on my muse, she looks the other way. Out the window, under her desk, twirls a strand of purple hair, imagines me invisible, acts like no one stands in front of the classroom, asking about the sound of the color red. My muse would like to kick my butt. He slouches hard in the back row, arms crossed, eyes angry, doesn't have a pen, doesn't want to borrow mine, doesn't want to be there. But when the bell rings at the end of the period, he takes his time, and when no one else is looking, he flips a tiny square of poetry on the desk in front of me and makes my day. My muse flip-flops yellow down school hallways, wears lime green high tops with black fishnet stockings I wish I had the nerve to wear. He is a sweet 6th grader who smells like bubblegum and empty apartments, sports blue braces and a chipped front tooth, has mohawked hair and droopy drawers, and it's all I can do not to reach out and pull them up. My muse sees the world through funky glasses, a world both starlit and nightmare black, a world he wants to push away, a world he wants to cling to, A world of phantom roller coasters, and he's not tall enough to get on and ride, so he waits alone behind the fence and wonders what it's like to let go. And when he doesn't have the answers, he just might look to poetry for the words. My muse is high maintenance, a complex ballerina, a wannabe thug. When he says, I can't write no poetry, I say, good, so let's write some. She says, poetry is a snooze fest. And I say, rise and shine. He says, but miss, it's hard to think. And I say, write that down. It's a good line for a poem. She wants to know, can she write about her best friend's brother who got shot last week? The daddy he ain't never seen? Someone's mama fighting in Iraq, another mother lost to crack, a slamming door, the bathroom bully, the kid too skinny, too short, too smart? And I weep at their rough edges, their skinned knees, the exposed poetry of their lives. My muse talks stuff like, that poem was dope, was ill, was whack. And I nod my head and smile, wondering, is that good or bad? And when she really wants my attention, she says, yo, miss, are you the poet? And every time this happens, I am again bloodied and reborn and say, yes, I am the poet. When you and all of you exist, so do I. Thank you.
All right, that was Elizabeth Thomas. Now, while the judges think, and judges, this is the only time you get any chance to think fast, because you've got to think fast, write that score down, and hold it up. I'd like everyone in the audience to please put their phones on vibrate, and if you have a camera that beeps, please make sure it doesn't beep when someone is doing their poem, okay? So, judges, hold up those scores, hold them up high, and you have to keep them hold up all the time until I'm all done with every single one. All right, are we ready? We have a big range. Okay, we have a 7.3. Oops. You can boo or yay, that's fine. We have an 8, an 8.5, a 6.6, and an 8.6. Now clap for that poet. That's a 23.8 for Elizabeth Thomas. And so next up, we're going to start our competition. Judges, remember those scores because that's your calibration. Please welcome to the stage, Simone Beaubien.
Poets in love. They meet in a bookstore. She drops Sappho on his foot. He feels obliged to purchase it, and so they pass stanzas back and forth over coffee for the rest of the afternoon. They don't quite have the hang of talking, and so they send letters. In his first, he encloses something from E.E. Cummings. She retorts with Amy Lowell, and so they court, each appropriation more meaningful than the last. Finally, he sends her something from Shakespeare, and she doesn't respond. Fearful that he's moved too fast, he retreats to the safety of Basho, but when she replies flirtatiously with Ono no Komachi, he understands her needs and closes Issa in his next reply. He uses William Carlos Williams to ask her to move in. They have a lot of bookshelves. They have breakfast with Gerard Manley Hopkins every day. The grocery list is in Bukowski's handwriting, and life falls open to a comfortable page each morning. Closes into soft, dog-eared security when night falls. One day at work, the man has a meeting and is going to be late for dinner. He gleans anthologies for an excuse, but poets only seem to have affairs or funerals, so in a pinch, he settles for John Donne, and when he opens the door hours after dinner time, she looks up from the table, eyes wet, and hurls Erica Jong at him, pages flapping. He ducks. He runs to the study in search of something to put the situation right, desperate for a hit poet guilty of incidental miscommunication, and she stands in the doorway, doused muse, fists full of plath, and that's when the storm comes up and knocks the power out. Lucky lovers. The only book he can identify by touch is the dictionary. But he doesn't know the definition of his love, and so in the lightless room he has no choice but to take her in his arms, Fold the two of them into creases they never knew they had, the braille of two readers running their fingers across the lines of a page, who never before let their mouths move around the printed word for fear of their own sound. Finally, they realize it's too dark to read, and so they just hold each other, empty lips pressing kisses to the night as the white moon rises in a black sky.
All right, judges, what do you think? Put those scores down. Oh, judges, you don't get to clap. The audience claps. You write scores. No clapping for you. No clapping at all. All right? Are you ready? Hold up those scores. What do we have? We have an 8.0, an 8.0, an 8.0, a 7.5, and an 8.4. You can clap for that, poet. And that's a 24 for Simone Beaudien. Keep clapping because here comes Zork. Give him a hand.
Hello, my name is Zork, and I am the world's most romantic man. But this is not about that. This is about name dropping. You know, I worked with Phil Collins twice. I cover my body with name tags saying, hello, my name is Zork. I'm Zork, and you're not. Zork, it's not just a name, it's a way of life. I introduced myself and shook his hand so many times he couldn't help but remember me when we worked together 3 months later. I got Phil Collins tea, not coffee, he likes tea, milk for the British. We don't understand that, but I have a photo to prove it. Do you want to see? Hello, my name is Zork. This is all about name dropping. I worked with Lily Taylor before she shot Andy Warhol and was 6 feet under. She thought I was a little bit odd. Might have had something to do with the Viking hat and the skirt. Don't ask, it's a longer story than you want to hear. On the 4th day we bonded, Lily and I. This is after she could say anything, and sometimes she did, and sometimes she didn't. But Joe still lies when he cries. He still lies. Hello, my name is Zork. This is all about name dropping. I work with Joan Cusack. She could say anything, but she rarely said a word. I wonder if she saw my signs, my name tags. I don't think I amused her much. This is about being extraordinarily ordinary. This is about being in arm's reach. This is about rising above through names. I got drunk with Baryshnikov, and I loaned my computer and my Macintosh to Peter Gallagher. A spectacular Spawn, played by Michael J. White, ironically a big black guy, beat me up with a loaf of bread. But my friend's friend is that freaky killer clown, a gooey sort of green guy played by that Latin legend Leguizamo. So Spawn will pay, he'll pay. Hello, my name is Zork. This is all about name dropping. This is all about name dropping. And freestyling. And I worked with Steve Buscemi. Before he was diced in a Fargo wood chipper, before Armageddon came and went, before he lamented being Pink, Mr. Pink, he doesn't remember me. Someone asked him, but he doesn't remember me. But I have a photo to prove it. Do you want to see? Hello, my name is Zork. This is about name dropping, about standing out. I'm 6'5.5". I used to be short. Willpower. Gina Gershon showed me none of it before she was bound as a showgirl. Ronald McDonald's board for my book is coming soon. You might want to stand out of the way. Carly Simon, still in mirror. Gilbert Gottfried, even the Night Stalker, have suffered striking an all-too-patient pose for the purpose of celluloid stamina with me. I worked with them all. I'll drop their names to get your attention. I had Soupy Sales throw a pie in my face. I thought it was funny. I don't know if he agreed, but I have a photo to prove it. Do you want to see? Hello, this is all about me wanting to be you, dreaming you would want to be me, be with me. I stand on chairs to be taller. I'm the world's shyest guy, so I speak louder. Hello, my name is Zork. Will you tell your friends hello, his name is Zork? This piece is about being noticed, being remembered, and getting your attention. Do I have yours? Will you be my friends? Do you think I'm sexy? You can speak up now. Does it have anything to do with Phil or Carly? Hello, my name is Zork. I had 5 words in a feature film, a trauma film. Do you want to hear them? Hello, my name is Zork. Will you remember me? Will you honor me? Will you hold me close in your heart and soul and never let me go? What is my name? What is my name? What is my name? Zork! Hello, my name is Zork. What's yours?
All right, judges. Oh, look, they don't clap anymore. more. They learn quickly. Good job. Okay, you ready? You have your scores. Hold them up high. Hold them up high so I can see them. Okay, we have an 8.0, an 8.2, a 8.5, a 7.0, and a 9. That's a 24.7 for Zork. You should clap for that, poet. Oh, wait a minute. Bad news. There was a time penalty, I assume. 0.5?
1.5 time.
Whoa.
You have a 23.2.
A 23.2. We get a 1 point time penalty. Clap for that poet anyway. Clap for Zork. And keep clapping because here comes Scott Woods. Yeah.
What's shaking? This poem is for anyone who was raised under corporal punishment or if your parents were black. A whooping is a ritual. I agree, a smack on the back of the head is degrading, borders on abuse, but a whooping is an understanding. Praying to leather belt gods, extension cord deities, flying shoes made missiles, switches ripped from the arms of understanding trees. Some of you will not understand what I am talking about. Some of you will nod your heads and feel the breath of a ghost belt whispering in your ear. My mother was an educated woman, but she couldn't count to save her life. 10 whoopings were frequently 13. She blamed my squirming, I blamed her rural education. Vision born from whooping number 233. I have seen the skillet swing of a short woman who doesn't care what you think, reaching for a son too tall for bending over bedsides anymore. And the difference between a whooping and abuse is knowing when the lesson is over and knowing that in her swing there is love, and in your calls for her death between snivels, you always knew the truth. You deserved it. You may not have deserved 13, but 10, that was your number. I have seen the generation that will not understand this poem, that will see a victim in its author. Allow me to make clear this much. You have not been spared. Your scars will come to you, and one day you will look into a mirror and marvel at how much even smooth skin can hide. Every scar is not a welt that will not go away. But I can talk to my mother. I know her reach. And it is deeper than skin and the depth of a leather belt. It is the distance between two hearts that know what the other is capable of, which is to say, it is no distance at all.
Judges, hold them up. All right, we have an 8.5, an 8.6, a 9.0, and you can boo if you want, an 8.3 and a 9.4. Go ahead and clap. That's a 26.1 for Scott Woods. You should clap for that score. And you should keep on clapping because here comes Blair!
I was drawn here. I don't know what it was made me get a job at that nuclear power plant. Probably the same thing drew Lenny and the others. But some nights, when we're drinking, I worry something stupid's gonna happen. Because when Homer's around, stupid stuff always happens. Mostly people know me as that black guy from The Simpsons, but my name is Carl. And yeah, Pooh's wife always follows me around the Quickie Mart. And yes, Chief Wiggum's has pulled me over more than my fair share, but for the most part, Springfield's a pretty tolerant town. So when somebody painted a big black N on my locker at the Springfield nuclear power plant, sort of took me by surprise, freaked me out a little bit. And after Chief Wiggums came and stared at it for all the time it took him to eat a bear claw, yep, that's definitely a big black N there, he had it painted over, thereby destroying all the evidence. Later, Smithers comes to my workstation with some lame formal apology on behalf of Montgomery Burns, and the next day, everything just went back to situation comedy. Everyone acted as though nothing really happened. Well, obviously, I couldn't act that way. I didn't know if the threat would turn physical or what. Meanwhile, there's this voiceover repeating in my head that says, I know all these guys, and I guess what ticked me off most was that none of my friends ever said or did nothing. Well, about a week later, Lenny comes to me asking why I'm acting so weird, asks if it was that N thing, says that I should just let it go. So I tell him, not in some cartoonish way, I says, look, Lenny, here it is, in Technicolor. When I was a little kid, I used to have an invisible friend, right? And I told him all my fears and my insecurities, my hardships and my worries, and I never once said nothing. He never once did nothing, until finally I had to say to myself, I think I'm done with invisible friends. And that was that, or so I thought. But the next day I noticed Lenny squirming in his seat before finally he jumps up on the table in the center of the cafeteria and says in a voice louder than Bart's grandfather's television, listen up, everybody. Carl's my best friend. And whoever did that thing to him was wrong, and you know it was wrong. Springfield is better than that. In fact, we're all better than that. And I ain't saying I'm tough or nothing, but from now on, you go messing with Carl, well, you're messing with me too. And then he sat back down. He finished his roast beef sandwich. Some people applauded, some people laughed. Most just kept right on eating, but I didn't care so much about their reactions. I was just glad that I had finally found a friend who had decided to make himself visible. So I don't know if I'll ever leave Springfield or this dangerous job, but I believe this city is my home. Why? I was drawn here.
Let's start with 8 point, I gotta hold the pen the right way. 8.7, 8.9, 9.4, 8.0, and a 9.7. I believe that's a 27.0. And next up, you can clap for that score. Keep clapping because here comes Lizz Straight.
Esophagus clogged with sentiments of logical aspirations. Doses of halitosis spewed amongst the few who claim they really love me, even though they know I'm full of it. I'm as phony as it gets. This is only a test to see if I realize that I am truly blessed. Being stressed is just a reminder that I'm alive. Sometimes pain fuels the fire of ambition. Other times it forces weak souls into submission because there's no penance for perpetuating vengeance. I was sent this, didn't plan it. One of the few vessels on this planet opening wide to reveal insides full of swallowed pride and digested suggestions of what everyone thinks I should be because they are afraid of what I could be because I am the victim's advocate trying to cure this black plague. But my people are delayed because making minimum wage isn't going to help raise us out the ghetto. And hustling rocks isn't going to stop somebody's daughter from walking the streets in stilettos. We settle for less. And our absence in Congress doesn't make it any better. Are you telling me that we need Jay-Z and Will Smith to remind us that we have gifts? No wonder men brag on their manliness in order to make themselves feel adequate, when most often than not, it's not that serious. Because the real inadequacies lie in your convictions and your restrictions against women. I mean, my bad if you can't rub your fingers through my natural, but at least you really know it's mine. I mean, define beauty. Can you even dissect the false set of guidelines that society gives you to define your queens by? But then again, it makes sense that a Burger King claim a Dairy Queen. Obscene light clouds my insight. I've forgotten what the stars look like because while the right half of my brain is in flight, I can't even send right because the pen writes only the truth. I block out the sad memories from my youth and recall only the positive ones that soothe and emotionally behoove. I recall the days when I had no idea what the word struggle meant. I recall the time I spent in the confession booth trying to repent. I miss the days when me and all my little cousins would bathe in the same tub. I miss my granddaddy's love. He would take us to the railroad tracks where we would pick berries that were black. He would try to make me see entertainment value in Western movies. Pulling off his boots was one of my duties, and I remember having to mix his gin and coke and how that smell made me choke. And y'all, my granddaddy was my dad, the only person who ever whipped me bad. And I wish I could thank him for that spanking, because my life was missing so much discipline. And my mind meanders as I'm wishing then was now. If I could only bring him back somehow. Esophagus clogged with the residue of unspoken appreciation. Resolute denial since I was a child that my granddaddy would never be taken. Biological father's place was already vacant. Man, I need a vacation from misery's tendency to control me. I wish the water that they sprinkled on us was truly holy, because if it was, then I would drink it, because I think it would unclog my throat. Then I could speak to you all this poem that I wrote, and I could let you know that my insecurities will be my demise. Because my longing for a respectable father figure never dies, because till this day, I cannot look my father in his eyes, because all I see is me and my grandpa in the front yard making mud pies.
Lizz Straight, everybody, Lizz Straight. All right, judges, hold up your scores. Okay, we got some judges who know what they're talking about over here. We have a 9.8, an 8.5, a 10, another 8.5, and another 10. 28.3? That's a 28.3. Please give it up for Lizz Straight. And next up comes Sonya Renee.
I have a crush. I have an 8th grade butterflies in my stomach, middle school girl giggle. Mama talking about you don't know nothing about love, child. You are still too little type crush. I've got a new edition singing Candy Girl or crying Oh Sheila by Ready for the World, playing hide and go seek when it's night outside, and playing hide and go get it when it gets night outside type of crush. And you got me feeling like way back when Roxanne was being dissed by UTFO, like loving Michael Jackson on Thriller before he lost his nose. Like when putting on lipstick made you think you was grown type crush. And you got me wanting to stare at you with that Saturday morning cartoon Care Bear stare crush. Like sliding down that giant tongue on Double Dare. Like bouncing here and there and everywhere. They are the gummy bears kind of crush. And it's bigger than 80s white girl hair. It's like rocking some high top LA gear. It's like wearing neon socks. Yes, at least 2 pair, because I've got a crush on you. It's now laters, Lemonheads, and Mike and Ike's. It's begging for that 10-speed to trade in those Huffy bikes. It's back when rappers were rocking polka dots and Mike. See, I like this crush. And it's good like Project Freezer icy cups. It's like back when EU had us doing the butt ow. It's like laughing at that whammy on Press Your Luck. See, I like this crush. But you're feeling me. You're feeling me like Snoopy was feeling Woodstock, like Flavor Flav is rocking neck clocks, like the first time you heard hip-hop. You've got a crush on me. So I'm gonna write your name first on my game of MASH, and then I'm gonna have it airbrushed on my brand new Jordache, and then I'm gonna get real excited, like when trading Garbage Pail Kid cards was like trading cash, because I've got a crush on you. So I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna write this note, I'm gonna let my feelings show. And you can tell me if we go together. Please just check yes or no. Because I'm all grown up and I'm no longer little, so I'm trying hard not to rush. But I had to write this. Been reminiscing all day on this 8th grade schoolgirl crush. We have a 9.0, a 9.5,
a 9.5, a 9.0, and a 9.9. But 28.0 for Sonya Renee. Keep coming because here comes Taylor Mully.
I'm writing the poem that'll change the world, and it's Lily Wilson at my office door. Lily Wilson, the recovering like addict, the worst I've ever seen. So, bad. That the entire 8th grade started calling her like Lily, like Wilson, until I made my classroom a like-free zone, and she could not speak for days. But when she finally did, it was to say, Mr. Molly, this is so hard. Now I have to think before I say anything. Well, imagine that, Lily. I'm writing a poem that's going to change the world, and it's Lily Wilson at my office door. Lily Wilson is writing a research paper for me about how homosexuals shouldn't be allowed to adopt children. So I think I'm writing the poem that's going to change the world, and here comes Lily like Wilson at my office door. She's having trouble with her paper. She's having trouble finding sources for her paper, which is to say ones that back her up. They all seem to argue in favor of what I thought I was against. And it took 4 years of college and 3 years of graduate school and every incidental teaching experience that I have ever had to let out only, well, that's a very interesting problem, Lily. But what do you propose to do about it? That's what I want to know. And the 8th grade mind is a beautiful thing. Like a newborn baby's face, you can often see it change before your very eyes. I can't believe I'm saying this, Mr. Molly, but I think I'd like to switch sides. And I want to tell her to do more than just believe it, but to enjoy it. That changing your mind is one of the best ways of figuring out whether or not you still have one. Or even that minds are like parachutes, that it doesn't matter so much what you pack them with, so long as they open at the right time. Oh God, Lily, I want to say, you make me feel like a teacher, and who could ask to feel more than that? I want to say all of this, but I manage only, Lily, I am so impressed with you. So I finally taught somebody something, namely how to change her mind. And I learned in the process that if I ever change the world, it's going to be 1 8th grader at a time.
Let's see that one. Hold up your scores, judges. Hold them up. All right. We have a 9.0, a 9.4, a 9.9, another 9.0, and another 9.9. You should clap for that poet. That'd be a 28.3 for Taylor Molly. And that brings us to the conclusion of our first rotation. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to have all the poets who just performed gather outside in the hallway while we have a very cool thing happen for you. You are about to find out about the Haiku Slam. Now, we have 3 new judges who are going to be joining us. And if you could wave your flags, because you are our new Haiku judges, and we want to make sure that you know where they're sitting. And I believe that Taz is going to explain the whole thing to you. But we have Lev. Lev, where are you? There he is. Lev says he's never been to a poetry slam before, but he really likes haiku. He learned about them in 6th grade last year. So he's pretty good at this haiku stuff. Next up, we have Bella. Bella, raise your flags. Raise them. There she is. And Bella has never been to a poetry slam either, but she likes poetry. She does. She said so. She nodded. And then over here we have Marissa. And Marissa, wave your flags. There she is. And Marissa, her big sister was in the Brave New Voices thing, so she knows all about poetry because she's going to do that too. So she's an expert too. So next up, please welcome to the stage Hensboku and Tazu Yamaguchi.
you guys think competitive poetry started? Does anyone have an idea? Come on, it goes back to the beginning of time, you know. Can't you see two cavemen, right? They're arguing over the cave, right? So, of course, it wasn't long like the slam you've been seeing, right? It was these short little things. They probably go, right? And the other guy go, and then determine who got the cave, right? So that was caveman. But in my heritage, it goes back to Japan, and there used to be a game called the shell game where they compared a real short verse, and that's what I consider haiku, is a real short verse. And they would just determine, you know, which one was best. It also goes back to Norwegian times in the Vikings. They had ships that would come up, and before they started, real war and hurting each other, the poets would come to the tip of the boats, and they would do short little verses to kind of knock each other off, like, you know, I'm the biggest wave that can drown you in the sands of time. You know, and the other one would be like, well, I'm the ship that comes in when the morning arrives. You know, so they just go back and forth. So. And the last one is in the Greek Olympics, if you didn't know, they had pretty much a competitive poetry. So what me and Hensboku are going to show you is we're just going to do a few haiku. And this is another type of slam or competition we do. And basically we go back and forth, and then the judges decide, it's like the shell game, decide which one they like best. I go first.
Junk food addiction. I tried a 12-step program, but fat kids hate steps.
Mason jar. Bolt of lightning. Bent hairpin. Edison creates light. Deb, you gotta kind of host. You gotta give him the judge.
Hold up your scores, judges.
So basically, we're red and not red.
Okay,
so you choose.
Please raise up your red or not red flag now. Who you like best? Not red.
New America. When white businessmen walk by, we lock our car doors.
Miles and miles of silence. Then from the back seat, a fart bomb. The annual chili cook-off. Has anyone seen my dog?
I flush the toilet. Roommate screams in the shower. Run from naked guy.
Judges, please hold up the color that you like best. Not red.
I envy the birds. They soar past polluted skies, pooping on people.
sunrise. Street bum can't sleep in without air conditioning.
Not red.
The chalk outline reminds her of the snow angels he once made.
Speaking directly from the heart bypasses any major surgery.
Hold up your color, red or not red? It is red. Please give a hand to both. That was our little sorbet for you so that we can have a clean slate. Could I get all of my slammers back up on the stage for one final great bow before we announce who are our 3 advancing finalists? Here they come. Give them a hand. We're going to eliminate down to 3, so please give a big hand to Blair and Zork, Simone, and Scott. All right, so that means you know who are left. We have Taylor, Liz, and Sonya coming up for the second round. So, judges, my poetry slam judges with the little whiteboards, you guys are ready now, right? Oh, did they just do the Taylor and his sisters thing? All right, I was afraid of that. All right, so, you have to remember what we're doing, get back in the right mode. We're in poetry slam mode now. No more haiku. So, please welcome to the stage, Taylor Molly!
He says the problem with teachers is what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided that his best option in life was to become a teacher? I'm sorry. He reminds the other dinner guests that, it's true what they say about teachers. Those who can, do, and those who can't, teach. I'm sorry. I decide to bite my tongue instead of his. And resist the urge to remind the other dinner guests that it's also true what they say about lawyers, because we're eating after all, and this is supposed to be polite conversation. I mean, you're a teacher, Taylor. Come on, be honest. What do you make? And I wish he hadn't done that. Asked me to be honest, because you see, I've got this little policy in my classroom about honesty and butt kicking, which is, if you ask for it, then I have to let you have it. You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C+ feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A- feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? I make kids sit through 40 minutes of study hall in absolute... No, you may not work in groups. No, you cannot ask me a question, so put your hand down. Why would I let you go to the bathroom? Because you're bored, and you don't really have to go to the bathroom. I make parents tremble in fear when I call home at around dinner time. Hi, this is Mr. Molly. Hope I haven't called at a bad time. I just wanted to talk to you about something that your son said today in class. To the biggest bully in the grade, he said, "Hey, why don't you leave that kid alone? I still cry sometimes, don't you? And that was the noblest act of courage I have ever seen. I make parents see their children for who they are and who they can be. You want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write, and then I make them read. I make them spell definitely beautiful, define nightly, beautiful, until they will never misspell either one of those words again. I make them show all their work in math class and then hide it on their final drafts in English. I make them realize that if you've got this, then you follow this. And if somebody ever tries to judge you based on what you make, you give them this. Here, let me break it down for you so you know what I say is true. Teachers make a difference. Now what about you?
Some audience participation in that. All right, judges have made their decisions. They believe this is worth a 9.5, a 9.8, a 9.7, an 8.0, and a 10. That's a 29 even for Taylor Molly. Keep clapping because here comes Lizz Straight.
Hello. What can I get you all to drink? I chime as two pairs of blue eyes surrounded by crow's feet meet mine. And it's not the first time that look of surprise drops the dime on their expectations. Maybe it's because I pronounce my words articulately, and sensitively they look up at me with distaste. Guess they didn't expect to see this black face with coffee skin tone and high cheekbones, not to mention a big old afro. Today I even tied it up in a bun really small just so it wouldn't offend y'all, but not because you make me trip. See, I just don't want to mess up my tip because this waitressing gig is for the birds. It's ironic how I think I can get 20% when I can't even get a kind look or some kind words. And I find it absurd that you prefer to request this Barbie-esque chick to serve you French fries and a sandwich, whose man-wich he is black, by the way. And sometimes the rent they can't pay because she doesn't show up to work every day. But hey, maybe your Southern Baptist mentality apparently can't backtrack to when fat black mammies took care of your families, raised your babies, catered hand and foot to pointy-nosed, stuck-up old ladies, remaining discreet while your auxiliaries meet, pouring your tea, ironing your sheets, and you have the audacity to frown your face at me? Man, please. And I don't even like to use bad words, but y'all done got on my last nerves. And though I have pride in what I do, because it's what I do, I don't really want to be here. It's just the easiest job for me to maintain while I'm pursuing my college career. And I see y'all in here spending your Social Security share every week. But let me tell you how this gets deep, because see, I overheard you pompously complaining about 9/11 and its horror, about how George Bush might become a martyr, and about how all the towel heads need to be blown out the water. But here's a bit of information that'll probably make you want to leave and get up. Guess what the nationality is of the owners of this restaurant? Now, I'm going to let you think about that because I just got another table, which would allow me to dispel a long-time fable that all black folks are not the same. And I can blame this African-American couple that just got seated more than I can blame you for the reason that I'm heated. Look at them sitting there dressed down in their platinum FUBU gear, still thinking that it's for us, by us, when that Negro got bought off the auction block last year. They thinking that their vision is perfectly clear. They thinking that their shiftlessness and haste provides strength to our race, because they're still thinking that cursing out their boss and having an attitude all day is a militant way of resisting against this system, thinking that the system is against them when the system completely missed them. They are not a part of it. They are the underbelly, not the heart of it. They keep thinking that the world has configured a way to keep us mentally slaving when we are not even in the equation. They don't see us. We are on the back of this global markets bus because we still act like it's mutiny to spend money in our own communities. You think your $10 an hour puts a dent in their financial power? You think your house in the suburbs works disturbs what meetings take place in private society meetings and yacht clubs. Chicken head and scrub. What can I get you all to drink? Because y'all have caused me to think too hard about how black folks need to stop being wrapped up in church and start being wrapped up in God. And how black people need to realize that our destinies were written in hieroglyphics and Sanskrit. And if we want our power back in this world, we need to stand up and demand it. And how black folks can scream revolution and change without biting our lips. And just because tensions get thick, that's no reason to abandon ship. And how black people need to realize that $2 is not an adequate tip. For a waitress, I hate this, I quit.
Lizz Straight. Hold up those scores, judges. Wow, all right. We've got some scores. We've got some scores. We've got a 9.5, a 9.6, a 10, a 10, and a 10! And then 29.6. You should clap for that score, yeah. Oh, was there a time? Oh, I'm sorry. There was a time penalty.
There was a 1 point time penalty.
Oh.
So it is a 28.1.
It's a 28.6.
7.
We need to recalculate.
Okay, it's a 29.6 minus 1 would be 28.6. That's the score, so clap for that score! Clap for that poet! That's right. I can do math and English. Oh, that's me. All right, now, for the last poet of this round, please welcome to the stage, Sonya Renee!
My daddy wrestled a lion and saved my life last night. My daddy is not the lion wrestling type. Actually, he's more of the, I look good for my age, but after 20 years in the Navy, I got my butt a desk job kind of guy. He's a Libra, balanced, not prone to wild fits of frenzy like fighting off 300-pound felines. My dad and I don't talk much. When we do, it's all pleasantries and fluff. The last word in every conversation is a trembling domino, terrified of being the one to start the collapse. We're both so afraid that this house of cards we've built on our laps will fall. He and I are sort of like black ice. We look just fine on the surface. But every now and then I pray for a large gaping wound to expose the blood. I try not to ask my father for things like money or time or love. That heavy no always falls on my chest, breaks stuff, and I'm out of crazy glue. But please do not mistake this for a my daddy wasn't there poem, because he was. And when my mother vanished in a puff of crack smoke, my disabled brother and I ate because my dad worked. He made it possible for me to grow up a middle-class black girl in a city where military money made kids think we were rich. But somewhere along the way, he forgot that princesses never stopped needing their daddies. And while there was no wicked witch, there was a Cinderella and a very human stepmother with fears of her own, and a home that was not big enough for the both of us, and a father who turned into a pillar of salt because I kept on looking back. And like the millions of things I've ruined in my life, I try not to think about that. But my daddy fought a lion for me last night. And I know it might not seem remotely likely, but lots of impossible things have been happening as of late, and it's starting to affect my sleep. Because on November 4th, Tuesday of that week, I went to bed, and when I woke up, a black man was president. I went to bed last night, and my daddy, graduated from college a year after me, married with 2 children at the age of 19. Daddy was president in my crazy old dream, and there was no one in the White House except for him and me, but this house was not made out of trembling dominoes or a deck of cards. The chairs in this house were hard and solid, like the foundation of two people who had finally learned how to love each other. And we walked around that White House, sharing secrets and exploring hidden rooms, like a daddy and his daughter watching cartoons when she was 9. And I was suddenly transported to a time when our relationship was not a broken watch. My father was a man who knew me and loved me and showed me it was so. And I don't know how we ended up in the White House backyard, but we were having such a good time. We must have been caught off guard because a lion sprang out of nowhere and tried to attack, but my daddy, y'all, the man I haven't trusted my heart with in 15 years, had my back. My daddy fought that lion for me. And I know it's just a dream and it might not make any sense, but as of that Tuesday and ever since, something in me has shifted. And maybe y'all missed it, but 2 little girls who finally look like me just might be in a White House playing hide and seek with their daddy. And I never thought that was plausible. So I'm gonna call my father tonight. I'm gonna tell him I love him, believe that he will return those words and mean it, because I woke up this morning certain that anything is possible.
We have a 9.8, a 9.8, a 9.9, a 10, and a 10. 29.7. Yes. What? Oh, a time. Can we just boo time for a second? Very boo time. And what's the time penalty? Is it 0.5? So usually we know it's a 28.2 now. 1.5. Okay, now we're really gonna boo. Boo 1.5! But yay for Sonya's palm! That's right! Can I get those 3 poets back up on the stage? Let's give them one more round of applause. Here comes Liz, she's running through the background. In 3rd place, because of time penalties, Sonya Renee. In 2nd place, we have Lizz Straight. Because of time penalties. And because we follow the rules, Renee wins. We have slammed. Thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed the show.
I'm Marianna and I'm from Jupiter, Florida. And this is my first poetry slam, and it was a lot of fun. I thought it might have been like a little boring, but it was a lot different than I thought it was going to be.
My name is Bianca and I'm from Jupiter, Florida. I think my favorite part of this whole poetry slam thing is just like getting to hear what people really have to say about personal experiences that they have had. Getting up in front of a crowd isn't as hard as I think it is, I guess. Yeah.
I'm Osborn. I'm from right here in West Palm Beach, Florida. It was the really fun poetry, the kind where you can listen and have a great time because it's just fun to hear.
Hi, I'm Marissa Osborn, and I'm from right here in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I have a lot of experience in slams because my sister was on a team, and so whenever I went to those meetings, I would hear a lot of different perspectives on what people were living through and all their experiences in life. So it really has changed a lot for me, and I think maybe now I might write poetry. It's good to have these things at the library where kids can see it and then they might want to participate themselves.
It's definitely a good way to get kids interested in just bonding and together and hearing all the different ideas.
I am the shyest person in the whole wide world, but slam poetry gives me the tools to figure out what I want to say and how to say it well. And now with these tools, I tour and teach with poetry for a living.
And in the beginning, when I first started slamming, you know, I'm not a theater person, I'm not a drama person. You know, I ran out of a public speaking class in my early 20s crying because I couldn't get up and introduce myself for 1 minute to the class, right? So, and now, you know, fast forward 15 years or so, and this is what I do for a living. I think with slam poetry, with performance poetry, I prefer to call it, that the kids realize that there is a very expressive option out there that gives them a true voice. And for a lot of the young people that I've worked with, you know, that's a real unique opportunity.
I grew up not knowing what to say, and not thinking that anyone would care what I have to say. But the purpose of slam poetry is to make more poets, and then let every poet of every age find and share their voice. And slam poetry makes it fun, so everyone in the audience is entertained.
But most of the kids don't realize that it's out there. The way that they're taught poetry traditionally in school is poetry that doesn't resonate with their lives or their ideas of their future. So when you slip in performance poetry, it's you know, it's out loud poetry. It's in person. A lot of their parents are probably saying, "Oh man, I don't want to go to this thing at the school," and then they come up afterward and everybody's high fiving and, you know, saying what a great time they had and how it wasn't what they expected. I think that's what I like about it. It's not what people expect about poetry.
One of the problems with the school system is that we don't teach kids to value their own voice. And slam really is about cultivating that. It's about saying, you have something to say. You can say it in a creative, artistic, engaging way. And we want you to do that, you know? And we want you to value your own work. I think that slam is really a pivotal part of helping kids learn to love language and love their own creative process. Got to a place where I became more comfortable being willing to share what I was writing in a public setting. And really that's what it takes. It takes being willing to take whatever it is you've been playing around in your notebook with for years and sharing it. And slam gives people the stage to do that, and anyone can do it. And, you know.
I like to think that if I, a tall, red and goofy guy who happens to be horribly shy and who hated poetry all my life, can be a poet, that anyone can be. I started at age 32. Kids being taught slam in schools have such a great head start to be such incredible poets and performers. And these talents of writing and presentation become so useful in so many areas of a kid's or adult's day-to-day lives.
I think slam is important in schools for the same reason I think all art is important in schools. I think that increasingly our youth don't have enough opportunities to express themselves in their own ways, in their own words. So, and slam, if it's nothing else, is an opportunity for anyone from anywhere with any background at all to get their 3 minutes, on stage.
It's important to learn and read other authors' work to expand, you know, your understanding of what is possible with language, and then to figure out your own voice and what you love and what moves you, and then to get it out of that notebook. I think there are bazillions of closet poets hiding in the world, teachers and students alike, who just, they're in their little notebooks and they're afraid to share it, and you never know how whatever it is that's in that notebook can change someone else's life or change yours. And I feel like I'm a testament to that. Write, read, and share it. Write, read, and share it.
You need to put yourself out there, and if you're nervous about it, use that nervousness as an energy tool, right? Don't let it take you down. Don't let your nervousness take you down. use it. It's adrenaline. Use it in your performance to make it happen.
We get random people from nowhere to decide whether or not they like a poem and to give it a number, 0.0 to a 10.0. And you don't have to have any credential.
The competition part is more for the audience. And this is what I say because I coach the Connecticut youth team and organize it. And so when I'm working with the kids, especially kids who are very new to the slam, I try to help them understand that the scoring, the competition is for the audience. It's not really for them. It's not there to tell them whether they're a good poet or a bad poet. The scoring has nothing to do with that. You can do a poem one night and get great scores, and you can do the same poem in the exact same way the next night with 5 different judges and get completely different scores.
Mark Kelly Smith, when he invented slam, designed the competition part purely as a way to get the audience more involved and entertained. And while the scoring should never be taken seriously, it does make every poet at the stage try to be more entertaining, because that's what slam is all about, having fun with poetry and its performance.
Just the same way that slam says you have a voice and you can say something, it also tells random people who may not have any background in poetry, you have an opinion about what is good, and we want to know it. And I think that merger is what is so important and brings people to love language. The points are not the point, the points are the poetry. Because it's 5 random people, every night can be something different. When I say flukishly won, I mean that the stars were aligned that night in 2004 for me to win. And on another night, they're aligned for somebody different. Those 5 people may not score you well, but the audience is going to embrace you and appreciate you for having taken the chance to get up and do it.
You can be a performance poet in an open mic. If the scores are going to bother you, if they're going to make you not want to write anymore, then don't slam.
Do your personal best, and do try your best to entertain everyone, but whatever you do, remember that the purpose is just to have fun with sharing words, so do that. Have fun being a poet.
If you've got this, then follow this. And if somebody ever judges you based on what you make, you give them this.
And give them this.
I think I will do just what teachers make, just to get a clean version out there. And this is probably the.
I think that half my team.
Slam is a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. The writing is where the heart is. And
But my friend's friend is that freaky hill climb and gooey sort of green guy played by that Latin legend that exam was just want to pay, he'll pay. Hello, my name is Zork. This is all about name dropping. Hi, I'm Zork. I'm a touring teaching slam poet. I helped produce and co-star in the Safe Slam 2 DVD for the National Poetry Slam, and I am an absolute loser. Slam poets often help memorize their poems. Here's an example of me losing this slam by completely forgetting a poem I've performed hundreds of times. My name is Zork. This is all about name dropping. This is all about name dropping. And freestyling. Taz, the producer for all the National Slam Poetry videos, edited out my incredible memorization blunder. That was the word. Edited out my incredible blunder. I show it to you in this featurette to show an example of how even a professional poet can completely forget a poem. Here are 5 ways to lose a slam. Since I specialized in losing the slam in this Safe Slam 2 video, I figured I would be the best person to show you guys exactly all the greatest ways to lose a slam. Here are a couple ways to lose a slam. About 5 ways to lose a slam. Lastly, remember, the easiest way to lose a slam is to care about winning. And the way to always win a slam is to not care about losing. The point of slam poetry is just to have fun, to be fun, to entertain and be entertained. So have fun with poetry and entertain people. You're poets. Go ahead, do it. Oh, and I forgot again, the most important thing is in a slam, never ever drop a cheese sandwich. No cheese sandwich dropping. Do not drop any cheese sandwiches. That will always help you lose a slam. Ham sandwich is fine. No cheese sandwiches. Ham and cheese sandwich, dropping them is like 50%. Yeah, maybe. Bad score, but just a cheese sandwich will lose. A ham sandwich, you still have a fighting chance. A ham and cheese, but no cheese sandwiches. Do not drop any cheese. Please do not drop any cheese sandwiches in a slam.